Kevin here, top 100 financial advisor and best-selling author, and we are here to talk about the stock market. Today, I want to tell you one of my biggest investment mistakes. I invested in Domino's. It did go well. I let it go, and then it took off. So I want to be a little transparent. I actually want to be very transparent as usual, but I want to be transparent, let you know why I let it go, what happened, what was my analysis, but also tell you that investing consistently in individual stocks can be difficult. This is why I still invest in index funds. I suggest that most people should. The vast majority of my money is inside of index funds. But also, my investing tactic and technique is not perfect. No one's is. No one can be consistent, or no one has really been consistent year in and year out. Now, thankfully, we are not negative in our overall account. But it's to show you that not every single stock that you choose is going to be positive or the best thing you choose every single time. And that's why I do enjoy public, is because you can see the receipts. You can go through, see how much was made, see how much was lost, and track people's portfolio to see how well they're actually doing. So I tend to sell the losers and keep the winners. Somehow Domino's was a loser and now they're a winner. So I want to go through that, give you guys some numbers, and let you know like what I'm going to do next and where I stand, and again how that thought process works. So the good thing about me and the good thing about this platform is that you can go and check the receipts. So you can go back to about May, June-ish of 2020 and see why I invested in Domino's in the first place. Now, this was mid-pandemic, somewhat of the height of the pandemic. People were at home, people were eating foods. I was eating Domino's a lot, and it made perfect sense. It made perfect sense. But to make matters even worse or better, depending on how you want to look at it, if you look at the chart, I'm on Yahoo Finance. If we look at from January 1 to May 30, it was around the time when I decided to invest in, was in May. I started June, December is when I started to look at stocks and make some adjustments. The stock was up 31% compared to the overall stock market. The S&P 500 was down 17%. So take yourself back to 2020, mid-year, and we're looking at what investments can we look at. We're looking at Kroger, we're looking at Costco, those panned out. We're looking at Walmart, looking at Dollar General, again, those panned out. But I'm looking around and say, okay, we know at this point in time that Domino's was actually a better stock than Google since IPO in 2004. Crazy. But also the stock is up 31% where the overall market is down 17%. And I know people are at home. I know people are eating. This has got to be a slam dunk. It was not. So if you look at the chart from, I'm pulling up the dates here. This is June. Yeah, so from June 1st, so we stopped at May 30th, it was actually a Saturday, Monday, June 1st, all the way to December 31st, the end of the year, Domino's was down negative 0.6%. So again, not the worst loss in the world. We're not even talking about a full percent. But you go from the first half of the year up 31%, and then the second half of the year, it's down 0.6%. Whereas the overall stock market is flipped. So the overall stock market is up 21% compared to a negative 0.6%. So at this point, right, I had to sell. Right now, I didn't take the biggest loss in the world. It's only 0.6. I was actually DCAing, so I probably lost a little less than that, or somewhere around that ballpark. But again, think about it, right? You were up 30, the market was down 17. You knew people were staying home. There wasn't a vaccine at that point in time. It had to be a slam dunk. And sometimes it just isn't. Everything lined up for Domino's at that point in time. And I definitely would have thought by the end of the year, I would not be negative. And it was. Hey, it happens, right? So, let go of Domino's. I cursed Domino's. I just let it go and just said, you know, forget it. I don't know why it didn't rise. Even when looking back at the reports, I don't recall saying anything that should have made me worried about Domino's. People should have still been ordering. I don't know what changed. I don't know why it fell. So, I'm minding my own business. I'm on Public. I'm on CNBC and all the other places I hang out. And then I get an alert that, hey, Domino's is doing really well. I'm like, but how? You failed me, right? So if you go to the chart for, let's pull this up right here. If you go to the chart starting at March 5th, this is when the stock really started to take off. So January, February of 2021, more of the same, not all that great. but it started to take off, I think around March 5th, but early March to be specific. From March till now, and now is the 19th of August, so it could change a bit. But from March 5th to now, it's up 59%. 59% is where the stock is as of the time of this recording. So you go from -6, -0.6 to up 60% compared to the overall stock market at just 18%. So that can be investing in a nutshell, when even though things can line up, you could take a loss. But it also shows a disadvantage about my particular investing style, which I want to be very clear about. So when I invest in individual stocks, one of the things I do excuse me, is to try to adjust mid-year. I hold for 6 months, I come back and reevaluate. It does not always mean sell. It means I'm going to hold on, I'm going to reevaluate, see if my assumptions and my research were correct. And you can only work with the information that you have at the time. Now, if I kept this company for a year, I probably would have made a whole lot of money. But given the information that we had at that point in time, it made sense to get rid of it. You were up 31%. You were scoring buckets, and then you were just trash from the second half of the year on. And the rest of the stock market was up 21%. What are you supposed to do with that information, right? Like, this was the time people were still home. There was no, I'm not gonna say there was no pandemic. There was no vaccine. There was no end in sight at that point in time in June of 2020. No one would have expected, as you get a vaccine, as people start to go outside more, that the stock would shoot up 60%. So, you know, it is a mistake on my part. I'm not necessarily going to adjust too much of what I do, not out of arrogance, but out of, you only know what you're gonna know, right? You're not gonna be perfect. I'm not perfect by any means, but it is a learning experience. But again, you can't predict the future. You can only use the information that you have, and you want to keep score. You do want to make learnings from that. So again, that's why I say 6 months or a year. In this case, a year would have made sense, and we would have been fine, right? But that's not the case for every company. So I like doing these, like being transparent as always, and let you guys know, like, hey, my method does work. I've got research, not just my own research, but again, I always cite the information from UCLA's Anderson School of Business on momentum investing. It does work. It does work often. However, it is not perfect. It does not work 100% of the time. This is one of those instances that it didn't work at all. We have other stocks, other ETFs, Equinix being one of those that didn't pan out. Everything on paper should have. Hey, that happens. But then we also got companies like Google, companies like T-Mobile that ended up paying off, Nike that ended up paying off, that boom, it works, we get our money and we keep rolling. And thankfully, this is why we diversify. So we lost money on Domino's, that's fine, it wasn't a whole lot, but we did make money on Google, excuse me, did make money on T-Mobile, have made money on Capital One, have made money on Target and others. So that's why you want to diversify. I would have hated to have put all my money in Domino's, lost money, and then 8 months later, see it take off and become this amazing company. It happens. So I wanted to be transparent. Nobody in the stock market is perfect. You're gonna make mistakes from time to time. Your job is to, one, diversify, okay? Don't put all your eggs in one basket, which we always talk about, but also say, hey, look, made a mistake, learn from it, and move forward. All right, that's it for me. Talk to you guys later.